life. And investing companies, promoters, partners do look to private equity partners coming in to add value to the business.
Go around the horn on everyone, which is great. This is a crazy important topic. And who are we? We are investment professionals, usually with finance or consulting backgrounds. We're not management gurus. These are great companies that we're investing in. They're investable. Therefore, we think they have prospects. Clearly, on that basis, they should have strong management teams, usually. That being said, we have the benefit of experience. My colleagues here and we have made a lot of investments and have seen things before. My two key observations are the normal and mainstream, which is, boy, we better get it right on the finance and accounting and reporting and control stuff that we live in, that we're good at. If we don't get that right and we don't pay attention from the outset, there's an eyes that's bigger than the stomach mentality that can prevail at times, like somebody was touching on, that companies have the potential of overreaching. Sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes that overreaching is in order, okay? So what's the non-mainstream? The non-mainstream, I find, is that in virtually all the companies that we've invested in over the years, the sales capability is less strong than the manufacturing capability. Okay, so this is a stretch for us finance people. So, generally we don't like, there's a prevailing wisdom in the world that headhunters are, I don't know if they're headhunters here, but they're sometimes kind of parasites and the like, and poaching your people. But I've just found headhunters being vitally important over the years to us, not only at the board level, but this trying to get management over the line, usually it's management founders over the line, that they feel comfortable working with non-family members, delegating responsibility, provincial expansion to developing their sales force capability. And in this information age, where information is so rapidly spread, I find that consumers are more sophisticated often and have greater expectations in terms of rebranding exercises, sprucing up the image, the in-store image, the branding element of a business. And we need to, and there are constraints in our abilities here, work with companies, okay, to add credible, especially sales and marketing executives to their business so they can keep up with the consumers in their market. So that's the biggest constraint, and that's the biggest source of value add when we've succeeded, okay, that we've brought to companies, assisting them in rebranding and supporting their sales and marketing activities in border and across border.
We're running a little bit low on time, so I'll drop some of my questions and open the floor to your questions. First one. Yes.
Hello. Yes, my name is Ed Henry. I'm with Corporate Intelligence Network, and this question is for a distinguished panel. One of our topics is concerns of due diligence in investing in Southeast Asia, highlighting strategic efforts to divest in investments. My personal and vivid observation is that there's a lack, perhaps a void, of post-investment due diligence for better preparedness and leverage. Can I ask the panel what do you think about that? So as Mr. Lin says, when things are going horribly wrong, from the beginning, and you're starting to create your exit. Thank you.
We're all really eager on that one. So far away? Okay. There's nothing intuitive that flows on that for me. Post-investment, yeah. I mean, if we don't have a 100-day plan at the outset, we're insane. We're going to get off to a poor start and have absolutely no credibility whether we own control or a minority stake. Then I hear the vision thing, and the vision thing is right too. Again, just touching on what I said just now, usually that's adding key critical members of the management team. And when I think through due diligence, I'm not thinking through corporate governance in that context. I'm thinking through how adept senior management is to working with new people. It's hard to bring new people into a firm. There's elements of trust and confidence and competence, yeah? And that's the due diligence exercise for me. Understanding their ability to delegate meaningfully, okay, because it is relevant to the growth prospects of the business. So, just to keep it short, yeah, I've been saying that we don't have the 100-day plan. Governance is an element of that, tightening the screws on the finance side, the easy mainstream stuff, and then quickly moving beyond. Otherwise, we're just kind of the passive investor, whether we own 51 or 12% of the company. Yeah.
I think just to address that point on post-investment due diligence. Obviously, we try to make sure we cover most of the key stuff before we invest. But in the event that post-investment and things do not go to plan, or even the 100-day plan that we had earlier, and things don't go as planned, I think the key thing is we will always have to trust the management in the first place before we invest. And if that things go wrong, what we try to do is not in the outset to go right up to the management with a hostile attitude. I think what's more important is we try to push the hostile activities and drive it through external vendors. For example, if there's a need for us to really push something across and it's a sensitive issue regarding maybe replacing a family member of the firm, things like that, we try to get external advisors who are somewhat detached from us to do the job for us. Unless even that doesn't help, then we might have to put a backup role in there. But it might be attention to the question. But I think it's key to maintain a relationship between yourself and the company that you invest in. And if there's tough decisions to be made and it's not worth the fight in the beginning, I think use external resources to help you do that as the first round will really help.
Take a step with this. I commented earlier on, I think the private equity investments is very much at times a people business. And the due diligence is very much a long process. Negotiation is very much a courting process. And all goes well, you end up getting married. I suppose in all marriages, the initial period is all milk and honey, very sweet. What we found really is not the 100-day or maybe the 180 days or whatever. The challenges come actually further down the track, and particularly at times when interests are not aligned. Despite what we try to do upfront, right in black and white, so forth, comes a time where really there's a crunch and interests are not aligned. That's where really the challenge is, and more important, the people aspect of it. So I share the view, post-event due diligence and work, but not our experience is not in the immediate 3 months, 6 months, but rather further down the track when they are major events.
Your question was whether there's a lack of post-investment intelligence gathering, and I suppose you're referring to the use of third-party consultants in that effort. I can only speak for us and would agree that there is a lack, not a negative sense, we just don't do it. We use consulting services on the pre-investment side, which is common, and we use such services when there is a contract. But we don't ongoingly have somebody provide us with insights that we don't gather ourselves. For us that works, I think philosophically, that goes to what you're saying, we're also not aligned with the idea of having somebody else go around and try and find something that could potentially be wrong with the management at any particular point in time. We do spend a lot of time with our companies. Our deal partners interact with our companies anywhere between 1 to 3 times a week. We don't actually put somebody in their offices, but we spend a very significant amount of time with our companies. Any deal partner has a maximum of 3 companies under management, which allows them to spend a lot of time. And this, as per our job descriptions, accountable to be understanding what's going on with the companies. Now, do we catch everything? No, not really. But we are willing to accept that. And we have had incidents, but I would say by and large, less than 10% of the companies we've invested in, things happen in the background that we weren't aware of.
We have time for one specific panelist. Anybody want to go for it?
This is a question for Mr. Money. Can you tell us more about this less than 10%? What red flags you see now? Back?
So let me just make sure I got your question. About the companies where we ran into issues.
Right, when things went sour.
Yeah, what's the question about that?
What red flags do you see now in retrospect?
I think for both companies, I think the mistakes made by us actually date back to the original investment decision process and the due diligence related to understanding that person, an individual. Different reasons really for each breakdown, basically, or conflict. But one of them is an investment that we made a very long time ago. And if I think back to the appraisal process and the diligence process that we underwent at the time, we should have done a much more comprehensive background check on that person, including various stakeholders at the time, whether it's suppliers, customers, ex-employees, great source, ex-wives, even better. That's one, and we didn't do that in this particular case. Another is also that, I'm happy to admit that there were certain things that were actually flagged at the time, but we chose to tolerate it. We, as an investment firm, were more committed to making that investment, and we somehow bought into the pluses, basically, of that appraisal, and ignored things that had been flagged to us at the time, or tolerated them, I suppose. Had we not tolerated them, we wouldn't have made an investment and not suffered the consequences. So in that particular case, we did have signs of lack of integrity. That's one thing that we really check in on now in great amount of detail. Integrity as a corporate value is critical. Does somebody do what he said he was going to do or not? And if there's a track record of a person not honoring his commitments or his word, stay away from them. Whatever you agree on, whether it's in legal language or not, the person will have a tendency to not honor his word. And you will constantly be holding accountable a person that doesn't want to be held accountable. So I think that's the main insight on that particular deal. The other deal that, where we feel was related to us. I think we basically, the key person in that company had a professional background not relevant to running a particular business. And as a result, that investment didn't go so well. So there was a lack of alignment, a lack of alignment of interests also present at the time. And we didn't really get that actually from the very beginning. And again, it goes back to the personality, I suppose, or the behaviors, the values that George also alluded to earlier. That at that time we weren't really checking in on, and we weren't being disciplined enough to stay away from a company where we even had the slightest sign of a person not having a track record, for instance, of honoring, in this case, her word.
Okay, I guess we're out of time now, so I'd like to thank the panel for their insightful contributions.
We'll dismiss now for a 20-minute break, I think well deserved by all of you also.